Hey crafters, welcome to my channel. I'm Jen. I hope you all are doing well. This week we are diving into last month's small die of the month from Spellbinders. It's September 24 Autumn Scarecrow. And don't let this little guy fool you because we're going to spookify him. I'm going to make 3 cards and I'm going to use 3 different backgrounds with 3 different types of moons, or how to ink 3 different types of moons. So let's get started. All right, I thought I'd start by showing how to assemble the scarecrows. I'm just going to do one and then I'll do the others off camera. But I wanted to point out a couple things. So on the demonstration, you see the white and then the black part in the eye. So this right here is the buckle for the hat, and this right here is the black center of the eye. This is the head and the beak, but the head is where you glue. So just like that, you go right like that. And this right here is the center of the sunflower. So you can use this part as the white of the eye if you want to do that. I use that in the silver because it cuts the same time. And then for these, I just took a black felt pen and put a little dot in the eye instead of going back and cutting this multiple times. Once you get through the die cutting, the assembly process for the scarecrows is quite easy, quite straightforward. I got all 3 of them put together in just a few minutes. The only kind of really optional thing to him is if you want to put the handkerchief on the inside or the outside of the overalls. And I did both in the builds that I made. I also added red shimmer cardstock behind his face for the eyes and nose. I know, a bold choice. And here they are all assembled. Now, the first type of moon to ink is the die cut version. And there's lots of varieties out there. The one I'm using is the Sizzix 2-layer one. This is by the Tim Holtz collection. Now, you could avoid inking this all together by using 2 different colors of cardstock, but I like the variation that inks can give. To start, I'm just going to take that base layer and I'm going to use that to create a halo effect with scattered straw. And then I'm going to come in on the base and I'm going to make that a little bit darker. So I'm going to use scattered straw and a wild honey, and that's going to help me create the shadow effects of the moon. And then for the top layer, I'm going back to that scattered straw and I'm just going to do a light coat. The next thing I'll do is bring in hickory smoke, which is a medium gray, and then black soot to create the night sky. After I have the moon glued on, I used weathered wood distress spritz to create a shimmery effect. And then I'm ready to begin the second one. Now, the second layer is the most realistic, and it is by far my absolute favorite approach to creating the moon. To create the realistic moon, I'm starting with Lost Shadow, and before I lay down my first layer of the mask, I create a bit of a haze, and then I'll put that mask down and start building the sky. So I'm using for this Stormy Sky and Chip Sapphire. So I start with that lighter Stormy Sky, and I am leaving that halo around around the moon. And then I'm going to come in with that Chip Sapphire and darken things up. Once I'm happy with that effect, then I'll go in and take off that mask and add that second layer. And this is where I'm going to come in with hickory smoke, and that's going to give me all of that dimension in the moon. The next thing you see me do is I remove the cap from my Distress water sprayer, and I use that to get a little bit more control over the water droplets to help create that night sky. I decided that my horizon line was too high up, so I moved that down and added more chipped sapphire. And you can see the line right now, but you won't once it dries. The next thing I'm doing is adding that grass, and I opted to go with rustic wilderness for that effect. Okay, so I decided to switch things up just a little bit. So instead of Nina's 110-pound cardstock, for this last one, I'm going to use the Canson watercolor. It's 140 pound. It's definitely heavyweight so that it can take a lot of water. So I was going to add a kind of another option to do with this third type of moon. So I'm just going to start by creating that halo, and I'm just going to go around like this. So once I have a bit of a rim, see if you can see that a little bit better. All right, a little bit. So once I have this rim though, I'm going to start making the bottom rim, and then we can bring it in on the sides. So I'm going to go kind of like a smiley face. Once I establish the perimeter of the moon, I can bring in my purples to start building the night sky. So I start again with my lightest, and I'm using shaded lilac for the first step, and then I'm going to bring in that villainous potion to really darken things up. Okay, now you can stop there if you want. Now I made a big moon, and I'm going to be cutting off part of it, so I don't care that this part is closer to the edge than this part. That's perfectly fine. Now, if I wanted to, I could make the moon smaller because I can just bring that halo in, but I want to keep it as a big moon. And what I can do, I can stop right there, or I can try to create a more kind of spooky effect by doing a variation of a technique I learned from Amy R. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our Distress water sprayer. It doesn't have to be Distress water sprayer, but water. And we're going to create a kind of spooky effect around the moon. That's why I switched over to the watercolor. If you wanted to stop right here, you wouldn't need the watercolor paper at all. And this would be perfectly fine because once it dries, it'll definitely have a more saturated look, and it'll be more blended. Unfortunately, you're just not getting good lighting with this. I've tried turning all the lights on, eliminating them one by one. I've tried a couple different techniques, but YouTube just hates white. Okay, so let's try the water technique, and let's hope things go out the way that I want to. Now, the technique that Amy R uses is that she uses mica sprays, and they kind of blend in a kind of a line effect. That's probably not going to happen with just the inks. It's probably going to be more of a kind of blendy effect. So let's give it a go. there's that blended effect. And let's add a little more water from here and from here. All right. Now I'm going to just kind of tap off some of this extra, get the ink to go where I want it to go. And I'm going to lift up this side just a little bit. Can you see that coming in like that? Let's try this side. All right. I'm happy with that. I'm going to take some of this water off. Now this is where you have to trust the process. It does not look great, but set it aside to dry. I did mine under a glass block, and then I went and watched Agatha all along. Once that was dry, I was ready to assemble the cards, but before I could do that, I did need to do some distressing of my die cuts, so I ended up using archival ink in ground espresso. Okay, so here are my 3 finished cards. This was the first one that we did. This one has the die cut moon. I noted at the beginning that this is the easiest route, although this one ended up giving me the most trouble, in part because this isn't a complete circle, so when I attached it, the glue ended up coming into these open areas. So what I did was use a Nuvo glitter pen in Aqua Shimmer. The color is Midas Touch. And I went in and inked up or glittered him up. The only thing is I don't know if you can see it, there's scratches on it. See right there, these lines going through. That's from my die cut machine when I did the border, and it's a little irritating, but he's still cute and still giftable. I added some embellishments here and up here. All 3 cards were stamped with this sentiment, Happy Halloween. I opted against sentiments on the front for all 3 just because I thought it would clutter it up a little bit too much. I didn't have anything in my collection that stood out to me that would be simple enough and not distracting. I also have on the back, I have stamped it. I don't know if you caught Kathy Zilski's live this week, but she was talking about rubberstamps.com and picking one of these up. It's really affordable. It's about $25, and you just upload an image. And I made mine on Canva, but you could even make one on PowerPoint and save it as a JPEG, and that would work. And there's also, for $5, you can get a stamp. So check it out if you're looking for a way to have a signature for the back of your card. All right, so for this card, this was the Realistic Moon, and that was using the stencil. Let's see, I still have it here. This is the layering stencil from Tim Holtz and Stampers Anonymous. I did think about adding these little fangs. Let's see if I can get it to here. Let's do this other one. But he's still too cute, so I opted against him having fangs. This one is where we did 2 techniques to create the moon. The first one is the freehand, and then what we did was, this was watercolor cardstock, and I saturated it with water, and that gave us that blending hazy effect. And I added some embellishments at the bottom here. And the embellishments are the sequin mix from Picket Studios and Autumn Leaves. Now I skipped the assembly process for time's sake, but I've listed the products used in the description below, including that cemetery gate used in the middle card. If you made it this far, I'd certainly appreciate a free like and subscribe. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next week with a new card making video. Happy crafting!